There are thousands of survival games floating around on Steam at the moment. And as someone who has spent, frankly, a stupid amount of his life playing them, every now and again, one pops up and I go, oh, this could be ginormous. This could be big. Not necessarily because they have the most amount of money behind them or the biggest studio or the most marketing or whatever, but because they're doing something differently that makes me think that, oh, if they can pull this off, this is gonna be massive. And I get asked pretty often about what games are coming up that I'm keeping my eye on. So today, we're doing it. This is Josh's unqualified and overinflated opinion about what games are coming up that he thinks are gonna be banger, which isn't a very catchy title at all. So instead, 5 upcoming survival games that I think could be huge. And this is in no particular order either, because I had to somehow narrow it down to 5. There's still so many that I left out, but there's heaps. There's a lot out there. But we're starting with Rooted. Rooted is one that I've had my eye on for ages. Post-apocalyptic, a destroyed world, crafting, building a base, and try not to die. Pretty standard survival stuff, but just look at it. From the very first moment I saw the trailer for this game, it was on the top of my list of games I need to be aware of and getting ready for and playing as soon as it comes out. It looks incredible. Now, I know you can't judge a game by the graphics it shows off in its trailer. Me included, we've all been burned by this before, but it's a proper gorgeous game by all the looks of things. The game's set in about 2100, decades after biological warfare has annihilated civilization and nature is starting to take over the planet again, hence being called Rooted like a tree. And I froth it. I absolutely love this whole aesthetic, this theme. Overgrown remnants of the past civilization, abandoned buildings, urban areas, old technology, all this like old stuff left behind for you to scavenge and try and survive with. And that's actually one of the systems that I'm really excited for that sound really promising, the scavenging system. You can dismantle old objects that you find, recover any useful components, and then like reverse engineer how they work so eventually you can make your own down the road. And that's exactly the kind of survival game mechanic that I think has been missing from a lot of like pillars of the genre for a little while. Like you find stuff, but you can't build the stuff. So this gives you a way to learn how to do it over time. It's a gameplay loop that I've wanted in so many other games that just hasn't been there. So the fact that it's in this one, it immediately gets me excited about it. That is a game loop that I'm excited to be a part of. Always chasing the next piece of your puzzle to build the next piece of technology. So good. The world is also supposed to adapt and evolve as you play. Like the longer you play, the more things change. So events will happen, areas will change, new challenges will come your way. And it is also solo. And if you're lucky enough to have friends, multiplayer too. But it is a long way off. Early access is supposed to come out sometime in 2027. It does sound pretty ambitious, but if the systems are built as well as the world they're building around it, then I think Rooted could be something pretty bloody special. Moving on though, at number 4 on my list of top 5 games that aren't in order, Ark 2. I had this great idea of like, oh, I won't put them in like any like noticeable order or anything. That will be good. That'll avoid any criticisms. It's the internet, Josh. That's never gonna happen. Anyway, Ark 2. I know this one seems a little bit like a cop-out because it's not exactly an underground game. Everyone who's played survival games knows about Ark and now Ark 2. And also because this game has been coming soon for approximately 17,000 years. So I took the release schedule straight from the dinosaur playbook. The Volsers have been coming soon for 7 million years. 7 million years for the game too. Perfect. It matches up perfectly. But to be fair to them, I don't think people appreciate just how big Ark is. There's a lot of expectation for it. They're using the time. It's got to be good. It is the go-to dinosaur survival game. And I think we all still have that little 5-year-old version of ourselves deep down inside that gets excited about walking around amongst the dinos. I definitely still do. Base building and dino taming combined with machine guns and rocket launchers. What more could you possibly want? And Ark 2 isn't supposed to be just Ark, but more. They're talking about rebuilding and revamping a lot of the formula that came before. Also having better parkour and terrain traversal, which is just big words. I wrote them down. It's just bigger words for saying you can move through the world better. You can get around and move through the environment way better than you could before. I just wanted to use some big words. I was excited about it. But they're also revamping the combat system as well, which as someone who gets eaten by dinosaurs an awful lot, I appreciate. I thought it was a me issue. I thought it was a skill issue, but turns out it was the combat system all along. I'll take any excuse I can get. They've also redone how the enemies think and act and can detect you in the world. They now have a smell ability, so they're using all of their senses. Eventually, they'll start seeing dead people too. Bruce Willis is going to be nervous. But that isn't even the biggest drop. That isn't even the biggest news for Arc 2 because Vin Diesel is in it. Family. Who knows? Maybe that means we can take our raptors into space like they're a Fiero in this one. Who knows? Apparently the laws of physics no longer apply. We're flying dinos now. Arc 2 currently doesn't have any sort of release date or anything, and obviously we've already been waiting a long time. So who knows when or why or how we'll ever get to play it. We're talking about the sequel to one of the biggest survival games ever made, and we're talking about Arc 1, where people still loved it despite it being held together with fairy floss and duct tape. So if Wildcard actually delivers on all of this and gives people the dinosaur survival sandbox game that they already love just with more, then Arc 2 will go down as like the banger of bangers, and it won't slow down. The Last Caretaker is probably the weirdest game on this list, and I mean that in the best possible way. Instead of playing as another survivor waking up alone, naked, and afraid in some sort of wilderness, you're a robot. You play as a machine on a flooded Earth where humanity has all but disappeared. And your job is to explore what's left of the world, scavenge abandoned structures, recover technology, keep your systems running, and somehow preserve the future of humanity. That alone is such a cool setup because it gives the survival loop a completely different purpose. You're not just trying to stay alive for your own sake. You've got this massive base that you have to keep going. You've got to manage your resources and your power, repairing things as they break and trying to push deeper into a world that has already fallen apart. And that's the part that really grabbed me. In a lot of survival games, your base becomes this nice little safe little box that you come back to after all your grand adventures. But in this, your base is more central to all the things that you're doing. It's a huge piece of machinery that you actually need to upkeep and keep going, which makes it feel less like a house and more like an actual integral part of the survival mechanic. I also really like it when games give you an excuse, a reason to keep exploring beyond just getting more resources. The world is covered in drowned structures, industrial ruins, and like ancient technology, all these massive remnants of civilization that is exactly the kind of environment that just lures you in and pulls you deeper and makes you want to go explore more just to see what's out there. And that's something I think that survival games sometimes seem to really struggle with. Like, you could have the deepest crafting system in the world, but if there's nothing interesting over the next hill over the horizon, then eventually I'm just in my base sorting my storage boxes again. So The Last Caretaker looks like it understands that exploration has to be a key driver, especially when you're trying to figure out what went wrong and what happened to the civilization that you're standing in. And visually, it looks fantastic as well. There's the whole like lonely atmospheric vibe going on where you're moving through this world that used to be big and enormous and alive, but now everything's gone and it's just you remaining, which is a staple of survival games, I know, but it just looks really cool. I'm always curious how the next survival game is going to handle the environment that it's set in, and a lot of them do it very differently, and this one's got me excited about it, I won't lie. So obviously this is still a really ambitious idea, and a lot of it's going to come down to how successful these systems they're bringing in are, and we won't know that until we get our hands on it, but that is exactly why it's on this list. Number 2 is State of Decay 3. And this is the one that I think, I know. This is the one that I'm most genuinely excited to get my hands on. This is the one that I'm looking forward to the most. I am unashamedly a massive State of Decay fan. Even all the way back to State of Decay 1, when you couldn't actually play it in Australia and I had to create an American Smurf account on my Xbox so I could play State of Decay back then. I'm all over it. All the way back to that first church. I love it. That first like few days in State of Decay 1 is some of the best zombie survival game experience that you can have, and that's like one of like my core foundational gaming memories now that lives in my head forever. So good. So I am super keen about State of Decay 3, but enough of me gushing. State of Decay has always had one of my favorite ideas for survival gaming because you aren't really playing as just one person, one survivor responsible for everything, which you kind of are in almost all the other survival crafting games. For State of Decay, you're trying to build and keep alive an entire community of people, and every person matters. You recruit people, you build up your settlements, you go scavenging for supplies, you decide what jobs people have in your settlement, where they sleep, where they live, whatever. And if you get bold and you go out and you bin it like the banana that you are and someone dies, they're dead. You lose them forever from your community. It's permadeath for each individual character. Consequences for choices are such a massive part of any good survival game, and permadeathing your favorite character and then having to continue playing on without them sucks. That creates something that I think a lot of survival games struggle to manufacture: attachment. This isn't just, oh no, I died, I'll respawn, run back and get my backpack back, or oh no, I died, I'll start a completely new game. You can lose someone that you've spent days keeping alive and then have to keep on living on in that world without them and like feel that loss. In State of Decay 2, I lost one of my initial survivors after weeks. After weeks of keeping her alive, I got cocky and I got her killed. She had all my favorite weapons on her, she had all the good stats, she had everything, all the good gear. I kitted her out, but I got overconfident and I got. And even though that sucked and I was devastated about it, and then like having to play on from there, missing her because all the other characters weren't leveled up enough. I've been focusing too much on that one initial character. So like feeling that loss over the rest of the playthrough, that's such a good like gaming memory I have. I've got 2 of them. State of Decay is responsible for a lot of my gaming memories. We finally got our first gameplay reveal recently, and they've confirmed this for a 2027 release. There's 4-player co-op, there's multiple new settlements, there's new evolved zombies, there's new weapon crafting. It really is just, it's the kind of zombie game that I want. I want to care about the people that I'm trying to keep alive in my base. So State of Decay 3 can deliver on what I think that it can. It could be enormous. Absolutely enormous. And lastly, but very much not leastly, number 1, or the last one on the list, Light No Fire. I definitely need to work on my award show reading the winner form. Like you open the envelope and dramatic pause to build the tension. Light No Fire. Hello Games are the devs for this one, and in true to form for them, they've looked at the survival genre and gone, hey, instead of a map, what if we just made a planet? They are literally describing this as a fantasy planet that is the size of Earth. A giant shared procedurally generated world or planet where you can explore, build, survive, establish persistent communities across the planet, and explore and find places that no one's been in before. Now, huge procedurally generated maps are not new. We all remember the early Minecraft days, where I think they had to limit in the end. They had to limit the world to only 7 times the size of planet Earth. So like sheer size, I'm gonna say this with my whole chest. Sheer size is not the most important thing here. Size isn't everything. But what I want to know, if they're describing this as a planet, like explicitly as a planet, is it a real planet or is it a fake flat one? Can I go full Magellan and just head west until I come out the other side again? Is it a sphere? Can I go around the world? I feel like it has to be. I feel like it has to be a sphere, because otherwise why would they describe it as a planet? Plus, they have experience with planets, so I have hope. I have hope that you can actually walk around the world. Anyways, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Why would you walk? Why would you walk around the world when you can fly? You can fly dragons in this game too. I got so lost in the weeds there. But the reason I'm giving this more credit and more expectation than I would just like a random game from any other random studio is this is Hello Games. They have experience with planets and things like this before. Now we all know what happened with No Man's Sky's launch and everything that went on there, but everything since then I think deserves credit. They've spent years building enormous systems and procedurally generated planets already, so this feels right in their wheelhouse. So now they're taking everything they learned from that and applying it to a fantasy survival RPG. And that's why Light No Fire really fascinates me. Not just because it has big map, but the entire idea seems to be that exploration is the most valuable thing. That's the key, because this world is just simply too big for everyone to experience everything. The idea of being somewhere that no one else has ever been before, either in real life or in a game, just tickles me. It gives me the tingles. So if they can combine that, like that feeling with a proper good survival game, that could be good. That could be really big. Yeah, I think Light No Fire has a lot of potential, an awful lot of potential, but we don't have any release date for it at the moment. There are still millions of questions about it. But out of all the survival games that I'm currently watching, I think this one has like the highest potential and the most kind of mystery to it. We don't know how big it could possibly get. I don't know what the ceiling is, but it could be ginormous. Who knows? But hopefully there's storage boxes in this one. So those are my 5, but new survival games are appearing constantly. So if I've missed something, absolutely let me know what I've missed. What upcoming survival games are you guys most excited for? Because if there's 5 more, we'll do this again. We'll run it back. So thank you for watching. Thank you to the patrons of Patreon as well. Go follow me in the places, and I'll see you in the next one.